video, at least for the regular season. We'll definitely recap some of the postseason for sure, and then we'll obviously pick the postseason games. I'll probably do postseason predictions about a day beforehand. So, yeah, this is the results. This is pretty much what happened throughout all of Week 18, and we're gonna go over all of these games. Starting with the first game, it was the Chiefs at the Raiders, and it was about what I expected on Kansas City side of things. The offense to just bully Las Vegas' defense, but Las Vegas kind of disappointed me. And I saw a bunch of stuff. I feel bad partially for Raiders fans. They're so loyal, so dedicated. Ignore those shirts. But dude, I saw fans holding up signs that said, "We deserve better." And dude, apparently they got kicked out, dude. The guy got kicked out. I was like, bro, I mean, he's not wrong. Like, the Raiders, they're trying to hide the truth. Like, they don't think, oh my god, dude, that's disappointing. Jarrett Stidham disappointed me. And dude, when you bench, like, the most consistent thing, probably the best thing that your franchise has had for the last, 10 years or something like that? Like, what the hell? Like, I don't understand that, man. I guess, like, you want to see what you see in... I guess you want to, like, see what you got in a younger player. I understand that. I understand that mindset and that logic. But when you're in the playoffs, and when you have a quarterback like Derek Carr that is not playing bad, I mean, yeah, the 14 picks don't really help his case, but overall, he wasn't playing bad. Like, he could have thrown for 30. He could have thrown for 30 touchdowns. He could have thrown for over 4,000 yards. Like, let the man finish, man. Dude, Raiders just pissed me off with their bad management. They really and truly do. I don't show it right now, but like on the inside, I'm just mad. I'm confused, and I really couldn't imagine being a Raiders fan right now. I'd probably be the most steamed Raiders fan you'd ever seen. Next up, we got the Titans at the Jags, and honestly, the offense of Jacksonville kind of disappointed me, but I mean, the defense made some big plays, including a Josh Allen fumble return for a touchdown, and then Josh Dobbs did okay. I think he threw for a touchdown, and then overall the Titans' defense didn't do bad, considering that Trevor Lawrence absolutely torched them the first time they met. But yeah, it's great. I'm happy that the Jags are going. No offense to the Titans, but you guys didn't deserve it this year. Maybe next year, but I think even after that, this is going to be Jacksonville's division for a while. Calvin Ridley's coming back. This is a super-duper young team, and even if this Jaguars team gets bounced by the Jags in the first round, this is still going to be a solid team for years to come, which... I mean, it's not really saying a lot because they're in the AFC South, and that division is going to be crap outside of the Jags and Derrick Henry. So, there you go. Next up, we got the Browns at the Steelers, and Mike Tomlin does it again. He avoids a losing season by a butt hair, dude. Well, not really by a butt hair. He beat the Browns by 2 scores. Watson threw 2 touchdowns, turned the ball over twice, and the Steelers, they almost got to the playoffs. Almost. But Joe Flacco, once again, even though he's not on the Ravens and even though he's not in the Pittsburgh's division, he found a way to screw the Steelers over. He found a way to screw Mike Tomlin. He found a way to make sure that the Steelers were effed up. And yeah, there you go. The Steelers did great defensively. They looked like a playoff caliber team, and they just couldn't get the job done. Well, I mean, they did get the job done. They won. They just didn't get the outside help. Next up, we got the Ravens and the Bengals. And apparently there was a guy with the last name Brown playing quarterback for the Ravens. I had never heard of him. But I guess it was only like an 11-point win for the Bengals, which, I mean, that kind of shocked me. Which, I mean, I guess, like, it's not necessarily a close game, but it's not necessarily a blowout either. I mean, I expect the Bengals to breeze past the Ravens, especially if Lamar Jackson's not in it this week. I don't think he is, and I don't think Tua is going to be either. We'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, I think right now the Bengals should be okay. This was just kind of like a warm-up for the beatdown they're going to put on Baltimore in the wild card round. Would I be shocked that the Ravens won? With Lamar Jackson, no. But I think with almost any other quarterback, yes. Abso-freaking-lutely. From what I heard, Roquan Smith and the Ravens just agreed to a mega deal. So Roquan's going to be a Raven for a while. Next up, we got probably the most emotional, if not the most emotional game on the week. It was the Patriots at Buffalo. And the Bills knocked off the Patriots. They did their buddy Damar Hamlin proud. Nyheim Hines started off the game. It was storybook. Jim Nantz said it was storybook. During the game, I watched like a lot of the first half, and I missed the end of the first half because I was in church, and then a little bit of the second half I missed. But then I caught where Nyheim Hines returned the second, kickoff return for a touchdown. I was like, no way did that just happen again. No freaking way. And then I guess the Bills hadn't had a long bomb, like a long 40-plus yard touchdown in a while. And Josh Allen connected on two of them. One to Smoke Brown and then one to Stephon Diggs, who got over 100 yards for the first time since the Vikings game. So, yeah, there you go. The Bills, they got the job done. Was it a pretty win? No, absolutely not. I mean, yeah, Mac Jones, he definitely showed a little bit of signs of, like potential, maybe some improvement. I don't know. The 3 picks definitely don't help, but hey, I'm glad that the Patriots were also. I'm glad Mac Jones paid his homages to Mac Jones. He just needed to get over 300 yards, and he would have been fine. Threw 3 touchdowns, threw 3 picks. Allen also threw 3 touchdowns. And it would have been insane to see Nyheim Hines get 3 kickoff return touchdowns. And the Bills' defense picked off, we already talked about Mac Jones, but it was a great overall win for the Bills. I was so happy. They did it for Damar, throwing up the threes, throwing up the hearts. I know this is not a great heart, but you know what I'm trying to convey here. Next up, we have the tanking pros of the Houston Texans taking on the Colts. This was just a battle of who could out-tank who, and the Texans, they suck so bad, they can't even tank right, dude. I mean, they fired Lovie Smith right after the game. I don't know if that was because the Texans actually won or what, but they gave Lovie Smith absolutely nothing. Like, outside of Dameon Pierce, who didn't even finish the season, and Brandon Cooks, who they hardly even used, and Jerry Hughes, who had quite a few sacks, the former Bill, there was nothing for the Texans to really talk about other than how bad their season was. I mean, it was horrible. And I mean, the Colts, it was so bad. Like, they were trying to out-tank the Texans. And now the Bears had the first overall pick, and we'll get to Chicago in a little bit. But now the Bears have the free reign to trade the first overall pick, maybe to the Colts, so they trade up and go get Bryce Young. Or maybe they just go get freaking Joe, or maybe they trade for Joe Flacco because they love signing or trading for old QBs. Or washed QBs. Maybe they go get Derek Carr, who's probably going to be the best quarterback that they've had since Peyton Manning. Or Andrew Luck, actually. Andrew Luck. And then Seahawks might trade it for the Bears, but I don't know. Next up, we got the Jets at Miami. And this was just a boring game to watch. I tried to keep it on New England and Buffalo, but I just wanted to see if Miami actually won. And yeah, it was a piss poor game, low scoring game. Kind of what I figured the Jets would do without Mike White. And without Tua, this is kind of, it's disappointing, but I kind of figured the Dolphins were going to be like this. And I mean, if this is the Dolphins team that we have to play in the playoffs, I'm not really sweating it too much. But if this Dolphins team has Tua, then yeah, you bet I'm going to be nervous. I've been watching it all week. Right now, Mike McDaniel said something like, it's a lot more vague, like Tua's status compared to last week. So we don't know what Tua is gonna do next week, if he's gonna come out next week. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, who we have to play. I got multiple score predictions for Bills Dolphins. Next up, we got the Chargers at Denver, and I guess the Chargers benched their starters in the second half, and the Broncos went on to win. It was nice at the beginning of the game. I saw Derwin James and Russell Wilson go meeting in the middle of the field. It was a meeting of threes. It was beautiful, man. And I love how Russell Wilson paid his homages to Damar Hamlin by throwing up 3 touchdowns wearing number 3. It was amazing. The Chargers, they kept it close. I think it was tied going into the second half, but then they rested their starters because at this point they got nothing to play for. They just wanted to, give their backups a chance and rest up their starters for the Jaguars game. So, smart move right there by the Chargers, sorry. Next up, we'll go to the NFC side. We got the Vikings at Chicago. I kind of expected this, kind of not. I mean, yeah, Vikings kind of blew them out. They needed a win, a big win like this to get them ready for the playoffs. I don't know if they'll get to the NFC Championship game, let alone the Super Bowl. But, this game definitely gives me confidence that they can go into next week and beat the Giants. Potentially, I don't know. I'm still going back and forth with that game. Next up, we got another barn burner. It was the Panthers at the Saints. I guess Sam Darnold was credited with a game-winning drive, even though it was only a field goal. And crazy to think that if the Panthers had beaten the Buccaneers last week, the Panthers would be the team going to the playoffs, not Tampa Bay. Oh my God. But no, this defense of Carolina, it still looks really, really good. But this offense just, I don't know, man. I don't know what you say about this offense. It's not that great. For the Saints, same thing. Great defense, but just piss poor offense. That entire NFC South is just a dumpster fire. Next up, we got the Buccaneers at the Falcons. And this one kind of took me by surprise, but I'm assuming that the Buccaneers benched their starters in the second half. Because I think Tampa was either up or tied with Atlanta, and then Atlanta pulled away at the end and they won. And now that entire NFC South was under 500. Bucks finished 8-9, and literally everybody else finished 7-10. So, yeah, that's fantastic. Next up, we got the Cardinals at the 49ers, and this one was about what I expected. Pretty much a blowout to get ready for the playoffs. I mean, yeah, the Niners were still fighting for the 1 seed. J.J. Watt retired. It was his last game. He had a fantastic career, man. I hope you have a great retirement, J.J. Watt. I know he's probably not watching this, but you never know. But I know J.J. Watt is going to enjoy retirement. And for the 49ers, they're just rolling, I guess. They're going to be taking on the Seahawks, who is actually coming up next. And for the Cardinals, they just fired Cliff Kingsbury, which I think is a fantastic move. Also, the Titans fired Todd Downing, their offensive coordinator, which is really nice. Now all the Patriots need to do is fire Matt Patricia, and they're all set. Anyways, Niners did really good. Cardinals not so much. They still got a lot of questions to figure out. But for now, season's over, Arizona. But there's always next year. Next up, we got the Rams at the Seahawks. And the Seahawks, they needed to win this one. Or tie this one. Or tie, actually. Because if they had tied and miraculously if the Lions and the Packers had somehow tied, Seahawks, I think, would have gone to the playoffs. But the Seahawks, they did not play good offensively. And I mean, the Rams don't have a bad defense, but when you're crippled like that without Aaron Donald, it's just now. Seahawks, in my opinion, I don't think deserve to go to the playoffs. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Seahawks had a fantastic season, but overall, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know about the Seattle Seahawks. They're probably going to get steamrolled in the first round, and it would not shock me. And for the Rams, you put up a good fight, and it was just not a good way to end. Just such a bad, piss-poor, god-awful season. So, considering you guys have won the Super Bowl, this was poor. This was so bad. This was historically bad. But yeah, congrats, Seahawks. You're going to the playoffs. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Next up, we got the Giants at the Eagles. I think the Giants were playing with a lot of their backups because I didn't see Daniel Jones and I didn't see Saquon. And then this was Jalen Hurts' first game back, and ironically, the Eagles won. They've only lost one game with Jalen Hurts in the roster. They're 0-2 without him, so that's going to be very huge. Eagles are going to get the bye week, them and the Chiefs. So, yeah, there you go. Eagles, low scoring game. I think the Giants got like a consolation touchdown, and Kenny Golladay actually caught that touchdown. I was like, oh my God, Kenny Golladay got one? I haven't heard that name in ages since he signed with the Giants. The worst free agent signing, or at least one of the worst free agent signings in history. But the Eagles, they get to go host a playoff game, multiple playoff games, and one of those might be the Giants, if the Giants win and the Seahawks lose. Next up, we get the Cowboys and the Commanders, and woof, bro. I mean, what kind of a performance was that? This was horrid. How did the Cowboys lose to this team? How do the Cowboys lose? The Commanders, they're a team. They're not even fighting for a playoff spot. They're testing out a rookie quarterback. They were like, you know what? F it. We're going to go put in Sam Howell. We don't expect to win, but we'll see what happens. And they won. They beat you guys with your starters. Unbelievable. You guys are already in playoff form already. Choking in January. And you guys got to go up against Tom Brady, the man that dominates in the playoffs. So that's going to be interesting. Wouldn't it be funny if the Cowboys, who choked in the playoffs, beat Tom Brady, who doesn't really choke in the playoffs? I mean, unless it's the Giants, but I don't know. We'll see. Could you imagine if we got a Giants-Buccaneers NFC Championship? That'd be crazy. That'd be wild, bro. That'd be insane. But anyways, last but not least, we get the Lions at the Packers. And I really wanted to see either one of the, and I wouldn't have minded seeing either one of these teams in the playoffs. But I don't know, man. I felt like Detroit deserved to go just because of everything they had went through. They started out rough, and I mean the Packers started out rough too. But the Packers had always been good. Like they had Favre, they had Rodgers, the Lions, they had Stafford, but like they couldn't do anything with them. I mean, this year they had Jared Goff, and they nearly made it. They nearly made it. But hey, Detroit, at least you could say you knocked out the Packers. You could say you knocked out the Packers, who were trying to PayPal their way through that game. And Jamal Williams is probably one of, if not the funniest characters, one of the funniest personalities in the NFL, man. Oh my god. I think his Sunday Night Football intro was like, Swag Kazagaye, leader of the hidden village of the dead. And I was like, what? It just caught me off guard. I couldn't help but laugh. But no, it was good. This game was good overall. It came down to the bitter end. But the Lions, they went for it on a gutsy 4th and 1, but they got it anyways. And I'm sorry, Tom Grassi. I know how much this game meant to you, and I'm sorry any other Packers fans watching this. I know how much this game meant to you either. Again, I don't hate the Packers. I don't know, man. I just wanted to see the Lions in the playoffs because I've always felt bad for Detroit. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't have been upset if you guys had gotten to the playoffs too. I really and truly wouldn't have. I like seeing teams come from behind and getting to the playoffs, and I honestly would have loved to see either one of you teams, if not both of you guys, make it to the playoffs. I would have rather seen both of you make it over the Giants. I mean, the Giants, yeah, I'm happy they turned their stuff around, but my gosh, bro, they choked. They choked in the second half of the season. They were not looking hot. You guys were. And for neither one of you to make the playoffs, it just, I don't know, man, it sucks. But, hey, Detroit, you guys got a promising future, and for Green Bay, I would say you guys have a promising future, but you guys just have another offseason of Aaron Rodgers threatening to leave Green Bay and potentially coming back, and then failing to draft a wide receiver until late in the draft. With the exception of last year, of course. You guys got Christian Watson, he's a beast, but yeah, anyways, guys, let me know what you thought of this season this week in the comments below. Postseason picks will come out, I want to say Friday, but we'll see. I'm planning on getting my picks out on Friday, right before the 49ers Seahawks game. And yeah, with that being said, you guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe if you're new, and click that notification bell to get all the latest news on all my latest content. And with that being said, I'll see you guys on Friday for my postseason wildcard weekend predictions. Peace.